We experience so many feelings and emotions in one day. Just the other day, I experienced a full range of emotions. I woke up early, and of course I felt tired because I woke up early, but I was glad I got up early because when you get up early, you tend to get more done in your day. I went on to make breakfast for myself, and if you know me, you know I love breakfast so much. After that, I had my quiet time with Jesus, which made me feel at peace. Then I started cleaning and doing laundry, all while watching one of my favorite TV shows that made me laugh. So I was in a good mood. I had stacks and stacks of clean, folded clothes all around my living room, and I felt so accomplished because I was getting so much done. I went down to my basement to start the next load of laundry, and I came back up my stairs and down my hallway into my living room to find a mouse crawling up one of my clean, folded stacks of laundry. I screamed, I jumped onto a chair, and I called my friend Macy and said, "Macy, can I please come to your house?" And I was so thankful that she said yes. So I got some traps ready, and I set them as far into my living room as I could handle. And I left for Macy's, hoping and praying that that mouse would be caught by the time I got back. And hanging out with Macy brought me a lot of joy that I really needed in that moment. When I returned home, thankfully, the mouse was caught, and I was so relieved because I was not about to stay in that house with a mouse on the loose. But then I realized I had to get rid of it. So I got out some tongs from my kitchen, and I threw the trap with the mouse into a Walmart bag, and I marched it out to my garage, to my trash bin, and then I rolled it all the way to the end of my driveway for trash pickup the next day. Just in that day, I experienced feeling tired, glad, happy, peace-filled. I laughed, I felt accomplished, and then I experienced terror, then thankfulness, then joy, then relief, uncertainty, and of course, pure disgust with the mouse. All of that was in one day, really just a couple hours. So maybe you aren't dealing with a mouse like I was, but I'm sure you have experienced similar feelings in your own life too. We all have different feelings, no matter what they are. Jesus understands our feelings. So picture this with me. Imagine if we didn't have feelings or emotions at all. What would that be like? Maybe boring, or not so fun? Or on the other hand, it might be nice not to be sad at all. But we do have emotions. God gives us lots of different feelings. So I'm going to read for you about a time in the Bible when people might have experienced a lot of different feelings too. And that's in Matthew 21, verses 1 through 11. Jesus' triumphant entry. As Jesus and the disciples approached Jerusalem, they came to the town of Bethphage on the Mountain of Olives. Jesus sent 2 of them on ahead. "Go into the village over there," he said. "As soon as you enter it, you will see a donkey tied there with its colt beside it. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone asks what you are doing, just say, 'The Lord needs them,' and he will immediately let you take them." This took place to fulfill the prophecy that said, "Tell the people of Jerusalem, 'Look, your king is coming to you. He is humble, riding on a donkey, riding on a donkey's colt.'" The 2 disciples did as Jesus commanded. They brought the donkey and the colt to him and threw their garments over the colt, and he sat on it. Most of the crowd spread their garments on the road ahead of him and cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. Jesus was in the center of the procession, and the people all around him were shouting, "Praise God for the Son of David! Blessings on the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Praise God in the highest heaven!" The entire city of Jerusalem was in an uproar as he entered. "Who is this?" they asked. And the crowds replied, It's Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee. So Jesus' ride into Jerusalem was a lot like a parade. There were people standing on the sides of the roads. Think about parades that you've seen. Maybe it was a 4th of July parade or a Christmas parade or some other event. What were the emotions that you were feeling? Maybe you were excited to see the parade, or frustrated because you couldn't even see it because there were so many people and you were looking around. Maybe you were really tired from standing and waiting. As Jesus rode into Jerusalem, he probably experienced many different emotions. He may have felt excited, grateful for the people's praise, or nervous about his coming suffering because he knew he was going to be put on the cross soon. Jesus understands our feelings because he experienced the same things that we do every day. Here are some other feelings that Jesus experienced. In the book of Mark, chapter 3, verses 1 through 5, it says, Jesus went into the synagogue again and noticed a man with a deformed hand. Since it was the Sabbath, or the day of rest, Jesus' enemies watched him closely. If he healed the man's hand, they planned to accuse him of working on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the deformed hand, "Come and stand in front of everyone." Then he turned to his critics and asked, "Does the law permit good deeds on the Sabbath, or is it a day for doing evil? Is this a day to save life or to destroy it?" But they wouldn't answer him. He looked around at them angrily and was deeply saddened by their hard hearts. Then he said to the man, "Hold out your hand." So the man held out his hand, and it was restored. Here's another one. And this one is found in the book of John, chapter 12, verses 32 through 34. Or no, it was John 11. So it says, when Mary arrived and saw Jesus, she fell at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had only been here, my brother would not have died." This was Lazarus she was talking about, Jesus' really good friend. When Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, a deep anger welled up within him, and he was deeply troubled. "Where have you put him?" he asked them. They told him, "Lord, come and see." Then Jesus wept. Here's one more. And this is in John 15:10 through 11. "When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy." What surprised you about the emotions Jesus felt? Maybe you didn't know Jesus ever got mad or didn't expect him to even cry. He did. Hebrews 4:15 says, "This high priest of ours, Jesus, understands our weaknesses, for he faced all of the same testings we do." But here's the difference. Yet he did not sin. Jesus understands our feelings. He experienced anger, joy, and sadness just as you and I do every day. No matter how we are feeling, we can tell Jesus about it. Whether we're happy or angry, he'll understand. And Jesus can help us handle our difficult situations and our difficult feelings. Let me read one more passage that talks about the feelings that Jesus and his disciples had when they found themselves in a really difficult situation. And that is in the book of Mark, chapter 14, verses 32 through 42. Jesus prays in Gethsemane. They went to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and Jesus said, "Sit here while I go and pray." He took Peter, James, and John with him, and he became deeply troubled and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." He went on a little farther and fell to the ground. He prayed that if it were possible, the awful hour awaiting him might pass him by. "Please take this cup of suffering." Oh, I'm almost forgetting the most important part. He said, "Abba, Father," he cried out. "Everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet, I want your will to be done, not mine." That's important too. Then he returned and found the disciples asleep. He said to Peter, "Simon, are you asleep? Couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Keep watch and pray so that you will not give in to temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Then Jesus left them again and prayed the same prayer as before. When he returned to them again, he found them sleeping, for they couldn't keep their eyes open, and they didn't know what to say. When he returned to them the third time, he said, "Go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But no, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer is here." So Jesus was about to be arrested and eventually killed. In this moment, Jesus felt sadness, anger, frustration. The disciples were tired and probably confused, wondering, why is Jesus so sad? They didn't understand. Jesus wanted his disciples to pray with him, but it was hard for them to stay awake. Jesus was facing a hard situation, but he knew that if he prayed, God would help him handle his feelings so that he could do what God expected him to do, and that was die for us, for all of our messiness and our sin. Jesus knows what it's like to feel something that is difficult and hard to handle. When we feel discouraged or angry about something, we can pray and tell Jesus about it. Let me say this one more time. Jesus understands our feelings, all of them, and he can help us handle them in good, positive ways. When faced with his own death, Jesus prayed. So I have a challenge for you. Choose one of those tough feelings that I talked about today that you might struggle with, and ask Jesus to help you. And I promise he is faithful and he will. Let me pray for us. God, we love you. Lord, I thank you so much for everybody that's watching this. I pray that they know how loved they are by you. Thank you for giving us emotions and feelings, and thank you for understanding each of them, God. Help us to turn to you and trust in you with our feelings, and help us to use our feelings in positive ways, not destructive ways. Thank you for all that you've done for us and will continue to do for us. And it's in your name I pray.